Yes, Master.
You've been to China, right?
Yes, Master.
And
In
where?
Guangxi and Shanghai.
In Shanghai. When? When did you go to Shanghai?
December 2020.
Or December 2020. That means the year before last.
Yes,
Yeah.
before COVID.
For what?
Before COVID lah.
Okay. And what's your impression about Shanghai? It's coastal city.
Yeah. Very beautiful city lah.
Very
Beautiful city.
okay. And don't tell how many places you visit in Shanghai.
Many. The Ban, the Shanghai Tower, the museum, the marketplace too.
And do you think it's big or small?
Very big lah.
Very big. Very big. Yeah. You know, the population of Shanghai is 2 million, 2.4 million. It's quite big. Okay, thank you. And Li Tong, just now you said you've been to China, right? If you have a chance to visit China, where do you want to go? Hubei province. Okay. You want to come to our university?
是的，老师。
Okay. And in Hubei, there are a lot of scenic spots, such as Wudangshan and Danjiangkou Reservoir. And in Hubei, it's quite convenient to travel to the provinces around, such as Jiangxi, Anhui, Henan. It's quite convenient. Okay, next question. Do you know anything about cloud tourism or virtual tourism? Virtual tours. Do you know anything about this one? Let me see who would like to answer the question. Cloud tourism or virtual tours?杜亚薇 Where's 杜亚薇 杜亚薇 is not here. It's not online. Wang Xiumei. Hi, Wang Xiumei. So, Wang Xiumei is not online. And Xinmei. Xinmei is not here. How about Xiaoqi? Hi, Xiaoqi. Now, maybe some of you are not here. I want to call the roll again. If the student doesn't answer me, I look it as absence. From beginning, 彭曼威
Yes, sir.
彭曼威 OK 彭曼威彭威廉彭威廉 OK 彭威廉 is not here. 李彤 is here, right? 黄小恩
老师，
OK, good. 杜亚薇 No.
老师，
You're here. Just now, I asked you to answer the second question. Now, just a minute. Yeah, please get prepared for the second question. I'd like you to answer it. Oyanana.
Yes，老师。
Good. 王秀美 王秀美 No.
Yes，老师。
You're here. Right. Good. 花明梅
我的网络不好，老师。
你的网络不好吗？ Your net is not good.
Yes，老师。
No. 花明梅
到老师。
Good. 花春飞
到老师。
新美No. 赵颖爱
到老师。
Good. 王美花No. 玲玲
Yes，老师。
Good. 倪霞
Yes，老师。
小七No.
到老师。
You're here. Yeah, please answer me. 李永富OK. 张福明杜福利
到老师。
OK. 易普拉欣
对的。
易普拉欣 OK. 易普拉欣 here. So I don't want to spend so much time to find who is just on the net, but you don't stay. It's a waste of time. Okay. 杜亚薇
Yes，老师。
Yeah, please answer me. And the question, do you know anything about cloud tourism or virtual tours? Do you?
到老师。
Please say something. Please say something. Hi. Do you know? Yes or no? 杜耀威
No, 老师。
No. Sorry. 汪明梅
Yes, 老师.
Yeah, do you know anything about cloud tourism?
I haven't heard about the cloud tourism and virtual tours, 老师.
Oh, it's the first time you
Yes, 老师.
Okay, good. Thank you. Next one. Can you tell some places on list of the world heritages in China? 张颖爱
Yes, 老
张
师。
颖 Yeah, can you tell some places on the list? You can tell me just 2 or 3 is okay.
From what that I know and I'm looking for, there are
Mhm,
Songchai Port Nature Reserve,
mhm,
Yangtze Gorges Scenic Spot, 老师,
mhm.
and Yalong Tibet. That's it, 老师.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, let's see. Today, I just want to talk 3 points. The first one is an overview of tourism in China. The second, top 10 tourist sites in China. In this part, I don't want to spend much time spend much time talking. I just want you to watch some videos. And the last, some tips on China's tour. And there are a lot of tips. I just choose tips according to students studying China and your Muslim students. Some tips. Okay, now let's see the first part. After the lecture, I want you to know the development of China tour. On the second, you'd better know some famous scenic spots and historical sites in China. And the last point, you'd better know the tips on tours in China. And the first overview of tourism in China. The first thing, you'd better know the rich tourist resources in China, because China is a vast land. How big is China? Do you still remember how big? China has how many square kilometers? 9.6 million. Yeah, 9.6 million square kilometers. So China is vast, rich in tourism resource. It has scenic spots and historic sites, spectacular landscapes, and colorful and varied national customs. So China has a great diversity of landscapes and corresponding variety of natural resources and climate types. Here, in this map, it can have the impression of China has so many tourist resources. Here, there are several points, 4 points here. The first one, a visitor to China is attracted by green mountains and meandering rivers south of the Yangtze River. You know, in China, there's Jiangnan and Jiangbei. Jiangnan refers to areas south of the Yangtze River. So in the south of the Yangtze River, there are a lot of green mountains and rivers. And in North China, there are grasslands and forests. So touring this country, you seem to have entered a traditional Chinese landscape painting. And the second point is, China is home to one of the world's 4 great civilizations. A history of 7,000 years has left behind great numbers of cultural relics and places of historical interests spread across the vast country. So it has a long history, and it has a rich resources in cultural relics and places of historical interest. And the third point is, the Chinese civilization has nurtures a brilliant culture and art, music, dances, opera, martial arts, calligraphy, painting, engraving, silk weaving, porcelain making, cuisine, architecture, all have a unique Chinese flavor and attractions. So that means China has a unique flavor and attractions. And the last point is, China is a big family. It's a big family of 56 ethnic groups. So Chinese music, dance, and opera, and the culture and customs ethnic groups, minorities have, are treasure stores of tourism resources. And next, China is rich in landscape tourism resources. We can classify the scenic spots into 5 types. The first type is lake scenic spots, such as Baiyangdian Lake in Hebei province, Waste Lake in Hangzhou province, this lake in the East Lake in Wuhan, Hubei province. So this is the first kind, lake scenic spots. The second is mountain scenic spots. Mountain scenic spots like Huangshan, Yanshan, Tianshan, Hengshan, etc. And the third group, the third kind is forest scenic spots. Forest scenic area, such as Xishuangbanla in Yunnan province, Zhangjiajie in Hunan province. And the fourth kind is scenic spots, like Lijiang River in Guilin, Three Gorges of Yangtze River in Chongqing and Hubei province. Such kinds of spots. The last is coastal scenic spots. For example, Tianya Haijiao in Hainan province, and Xiamen in Fujian province, Dalian in Liaoning province. So some people divide the landscape tourism resources into 5 kinds in China. Next, I'd like you to know something about the tourist income in 2021. And China has become one of the world's most watched and hottest outbound tourist markets. China has been the 3rd most visited country in the world. So during 2019, domestic tourism income reached, so this big, this round. In 2021, the domestic tourism revenue of the national travel agencies is 145 billion yuan. But just because of the pandemic, the operating profit of domestic tourism business went down. And in 2021, that means last year, the revenue of inbound tourism declined rapidly, a lot. Yeah. The operating profit of inbound tourism was 0.9 million. And in last year, the total number of domestic tourists reached 2.689 billion. Yeah, it was up 39% year on year. And the per capita expenditure also decreased. Overall, the recovery of the travel this year, that means last year, was less than expected at the beginning of the year, mainly due to the recurrence of the epidemic. And in the first 3 quarters of last year, urban residents accounted for 71.92% of the total tourist arrivals, a slight increase compared with the total tourist arrivals in 2020. That means a lot of Chinese residents turned to domestic tourism last year. And let's see, per capita tourism consumption in last year. As the epidemic gradually came to an end, because last year there's good signs of the epidemic. The tourism industry was gradually picking up. By the end of the first 3 quarters of 2021, China's per capita tourism consumption was here. This per capita tourism consumption was 879.68 yuan. It's up. It was up. Among them, urban residents per capita tourism consumption was 919.17 yuan. It was up 17.7%. Rural residents spent only 596 yuan per visit. This happened in last year. In last year, the holiday tourism went up. Went up. According to holiday data, it can be found that the recovery process of the tourism industry in 1921 was slower than previously expected. The number of domestic tourists received by May Day, Dragon Boat Festival, Mid-Autumn Festival, and National Day in last year, respectively, recovered to these figures. And what happened this year now? In this year, May Day holiday in last month, China saw a total of 160 million domestic tourist trips, down 30% from last year. Just because in this pandemic in Shanghai and some major cities in China, so the domestic tourists decreased a lot. Tourism revenue reached 64.68 billion yuan, down 42.9% from last year. Now, the third one is, I'd like you to know the tourism management in China. Tourism management. China's scenic areas can be divided into 5 levels. 5 levels. We labeled them from AAA, 5As, 4As, 3As. 5A is a normative and standardized quality rating system and the highest level of honor of the tourist scenic spots in China. So 5A. China 5A scenic areas represent the world-class tourism quality, more humanization, formalization and detailed than 4A scenic areas. So to become the 5A scenic area, one should pass 12 inspection items, such as transportation, tourism safety, and capability. Next, the last point, up to June 2021, there are altogether 306 5A scenic areas in China. So on the picture, we can see if the scenic area is 5A, there's a label. There's a label. And the second about management of tourism in China is the travel agencies in China. Last year, there was 42,432 travel agencies, an increase of 4.3%. And there was so many travel agency employees. So the number is very big. So this is the employees. This is travel agencies. And next point, I'd like to know something about list of the world heritages in China. By June last year, the 56 scenic resorts were listed as the world heritages. The world heritage, only 56. Yeah. The Great Wall and other 37 scenic resorts were listed the world cultural heritages. So altogether, there are 38 scenic resorts in the list of the world cultural heritages. From the picture, we know the some of them, like Badaling, Great Wall, Forbidden City, Terracotta Walrus, and Mu Tianyu Great Wall, and Temple of Heaven, Ming Tombs, Sun Palace. There's altogether the 38. Pay attention to the world cultural heritages. Next, there are four famous mountains were listed, the world cultural and natural heritages. There are only four. World cultural and natural heritages. What are the four? Yeah. Mountain Taishan. The Mountain Taishan is in Shandong province here. Shandong province. And Mountain Huangshan. This is in Anhui province. It's quite near from Huangshi. It's near Huangshi. I think it's only about 400 kilometers from Huangshi. We just drive 4 or 5 hours, then we can reach Huangshan. And another one is Mount Emei Scenic Area, including Leshan Giant Buddha Scenic Area. So the two the two scenic areas are in Sichuan province. Sichuan province. So the two are joined together. And the fourth is Mount Wuyi. Wuyishan is in Fujian province. Fujian province. There are only 23 world cultural and natural heritages in the world. But China occupies full. From the pictures, the first one is Mountain Emei Scenic Area. Emei Scenic Area. And on the right, this Leshan Giant Buddha Scenic Area. And there are 14 the World Natural Heritages by UNESCO. 14. So altogether, the 56. Yeah, 56. There's some World Natural Heritages. Now, next point is I'd like you to know some changes of Chinese tourism. The first change is besides the classical tourist places, many other areas gradually develop into booming tourist destinations in recent years. The classic tourist places such as Beijing, Shanghai, Xi'an, Guilin, Hong Kong, Tibet, and Xinjiang. These classic places. And the new places, Qingdao, here the Qingdao is coastal city in Shandong province. Harbin is a northern city in Heilongjiang province. It's in the north of China. It's very cold there in winter. The picture, you can see the picture, the sculptures made of ice. And Nanning is in Guangxi. So this is the first change. Classical tourist place and new areas appear. And the second change is after decades of growth, China's tourism industry has clever division line. Its developed eastern coast offers the largest source of tourists. That means a lot of people traveling every year. While the West region is rich in tourism resources. As the Western region is developing rapidly, the great integration of tourism between China's eastern and western regions will facilitate the economic integration. So this is the second change between the east and the west of China. And the third change is the way of tours. This cloud tourism. As many people travel plans were disrupted by COVID-19, cloud tourism has gained in popularity in China. What is cloud tourism? Here, cloud tourism refers to a form of travel that depends on advanced technologies such as 5G and virtual reality. This technology enable people to have immersive sightseeing experiences without time and spatial constraints. That means you can experience the sightseeing from the live stream. Amid the pandemic outbreak, virtual tours also means cloud tourism. The two refer the same. Virtual tours received wide recognition from viewers. Data from the short video platform TikTok show that 250 million people took a virtual tour via live stream during the 5-day May Day holiday last month. And next change is virtual museum tours. As the pandemic forced many museums to temporarily close or cap visitor numbers, digital tours have become an important way for people to interact with cultural treasures. Now, this is how we can do virtual museum tours. Are steadily become more and more common across the globe, powered by virtual reality, augmented reality, and other cutting-edge technologies. Users are able to gain access to places that might never have been able to visit in real life. So this is virtual museum tours. Yeah. The fourth change is Chinese people turn to short distance travel. COVID-19 has hurt tourism and related sectors badly. Across China, this emerging trend has people spending their spare time on short distance travel. People drive 2 to 3 hours to a nearby destination to stay for 2 to 3 days, usually on weekends or during short holidays. So this is the data in last year. China's domestic travel sector rose 13%. On the travel distance on the recreation radius of domestic tourists show a trend of double contraction. Yeah, this is the figures. The average travel radius was 100 last year. Average recreational radius of destination was 13.1 kilometers. In terms of tourist groups, urban residents prefer faraway scenery with urban. Next, I'd like to know 5-year plan for China tourism. The plan sets out the major tasks of developing culture and tourism, including advancing social civility, establishing artistic creation systems, improving the protection, inheritance and utility of cultural heritage, and enhancing the modern tourism system. This is the main points of the 5-year plan. There are 2 directions. The first is tourism products were being reached and improved during the period. Tourism products. With new offerings to be expected, such as national cultural parks, red tourism routes, and ice and snow tourism attractions. So this is new tourism products. Next, the development of internet-powered tourism. Promoting of smart management of tourist attractions and innovation of tourism-related public services. In the end, efforts will be made to provide high quality and efficient public cultural services and greater accessibility, sustainability over the next 5 years. So this is the overview of tourism in China. We talked about the natural resources, the management of tourism in China, and the changes. On the second part, according to the popularity of China tours and the positive feedbacks, China's top 10 famous cities are Beijing, Shanghai, Xi'an, Guilin, Hong Kong, Chengdu, Hangzhou, Yangtze River, Yunnan, Tibet. Now, I'd like to spend some time watching some videos, introduce some famous cities or scenic places. I'd like you to watch. Maybe it takes a little time for me to find. Just a minute. Yes. Be patient. 嗯，好。Can you see my screen?
No, Losha.
How about now? Oh yeah.
现在可以。
可以，老师。
Okay. Tomorrow is Chinese Dragon Boat Festival. Tomorrow. So I'd like you to know something about this festival.
In ancient time, there was a great poet called Qu Yuan. He couldn't bear the anguish when his motherland was invaded, so he drowned himself in the river. Local residents rowed boats to salvage him and dropped rice balls into the river to distract the fish's attention from Chu's body. Later, people memorialized Chu's patriotism by rowing and making zongzi on the Dragon Boat Festival, 端午节. That's how the tradition of dragon boat racing and eating zongzi was started. An ancient practice on 端午节 is to put wormwood on the front door to repel evil things. In some places, people drink realga wine and children wear sachet. Now the family gets together on 端午节. Nowadays, people have a variety of other activities to celebrate this traditional festival.
端午节，
端午节，
Okay, this is 端午节. Now, let's see, traveling China. The first one is Beijing.
Beijing,
北京，
北
The layout of Beijing formed in the 15th century. The Imperial Palace is the center of the city's symmetrical layout. The 7.7-kilometer long axis is the symbol of Beijing. There are grand examples of Chinese architecture, such as the Imperial Palace, the Temple of Heaven, and the Great Wall. Traditional folk arts, such as Peking opera, and traditional foods, such as sugar-coated horse on a stick, and roast duck are famous worldwide. The Olympic Games was held here in 2008. While preserving its traditions, Beijing is becoming more and more open. Welcome to Beijing.
这是北京。Next one. Next, Changcheng, Great Wall.
Changcheng.
长城
There's a long stretching wall in China called the Great Wall. Changcheng. With a length of more than 5,000 kilometers, Changcheng was built continuously over more than. The watchtowers would be lit up by torches if a watchman spotted an enemy invasion. Messages could be passed to the military center from one watchtower to another. Changcheng was expected to protect national peace. Constructing Changcheng would guard our own territory, and we won't infringe on other people's territory. It is not only a brick wall, but also one of the world's greatest historical architectural works.
Okay, next one.
Bugong.
Legends say there are 10,000 rooms in the palace of the emperor in heaven. The emperor in the real world built a palace with 9,999 with respect to the heavenly emperor. Years ago, they engaged building the palace with 100 million bricks and 200 million tiles. The palace featured vermilion walls and golden glazed tiles. The palace is open to the public by experience royal.
Next one is also in Beijing. 天坛。
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 Emperors held annual ceremonies to pray to heaven for a good harvest at the Temple of Heaven, Tian Tan. It was built in Beijing in 1420. Emperors pray to heaven for good harvest. Ancient Chinese believed that earth was square and heaven was round. The altars and palaces were built into circles to represent heaven. The southern wall was rectangular to represent earth. Chinese show their respect to heaven in Tiantan. The blue glazed tiles of the imperial vault of heaven represent heaven. The circular mound altar is surrounded by a ring of 9 plates, which are also surrounded by multiples of 9 plates. It represents the supremacy of heaven. Tiantan covers an area of 2.7 million square meters with an orderly arrangement, showing Chinese regality.
Tian Tan.
天坛。
Next is Xi'an. Xi'an is an old capital in China. It's an old capital, and there are a lot of historical sites, and it's attracted by a lot of Chinese people around, as well as the world. If you have chance, I strongly suggest you to travel there, and you can get near touch with Chinese culture.
西安，
西安，
Located in West China, Xi'an is one of the most notable ancient Chinese cities. More than 3,100 years have passed since it was built. Xi'an is the starting point of the Silk Road. It used to be a commercial hub connecting the West and the Orient during its prosperous period. Xi'an has the largest bell tower, which was built in the Ming Dynasty, the largest collection of ancient stone tablets, and the terracotta Now it is a rapidly developing modern city. Xi'an is an undying city in Chinese culture.
西安，
In Xi'an, there's quite famous terracotta warriors. If we have enough time, I'd like you to watch a video introducing from a foreigner. The terracotta warriors. It's quite impressive.
"兵马俑，
兵马俑，
There is a saying that you have not been to China if you have not visited the terracotta warriors, 兵马俑. Located to the west of Xi'an, Bing Ma Yong is a collection of the tomb treasures of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. They were built by hundreds of thousands of men more than 2,000 years ago. Bing Ma Yong were a copy of Qin Shi Huang's powerful army, which conquered and unified the 6 states. Each warrior was as big and vivid as a real soldier. The facial features, expressions, and hairlines of the clay warriors were exact duplicates of real ones. Life-sized war chariots and horses were also made. This army of clay statues is as effective and strong as any real-life military force. When you visit Bingmayong, it will remind you of the glorious time of the Qing dynasty.
Bingmayong.
兵马
I'd like you to see 3 gorges.
San Xia.
三峡
There are 3 raging ragged gorges on the Yangtze River, named the 3 Gorges. Sanxia, the 192-kilometer-long gorges are nestled in between mountains more than 1,000 meters high on both sides. When you go through Sanxia, water rushes past, with old trees and ancient buildings completing the beautiful scenery. It is a breathtaking but pleasant experience. The main part of the key water project at Sanxia on the Yangtze River was finished in 2006. The dam is now able to control floods and generate electric power. The 3 Gorges hosts the largest hydroelectric station in the world. The Yangtze River is often compared to a J belt, and Sanxia is a brilliant pearl on the belt.
San Xia.
三峡
And I'd like you to see to watch Chinese Garden. Chinese Garden. Okay.
Yuan Lin.
园林
Gardens are regarded as the treasure of Chinese ancient architecture. The Summer Palace, a grand imperial garden, is a typical Chinese yuanlin. The Chengde Summer Resort, which showcases natural scenery, was a place for emperors to avoid the summer heat and conduct his court affairs. Ancient Yuanlin or gardens in Suzhou are elegant and classical. Dotted with artificial hills, bridges, and terraces, natural landscapes were concentrated in Yuanlin. Chinese Yuanlin are extravagantly detailed.
园林，
园林，
Okay, the last I want you to watch the last one, Shaolin Si. It's the birthplace of Chinese Wushu, Chinese martial.
《少林寺》
少林寺，
The Shaolin Temple, Shaolin Si, is the cradle of the Shaolin martial arts. Legends say that 13 monks, who were martial arts experts, rescued a besieged emperor. Then the Shaolin martial arts became famous all over China. Monks created maneuvers from daily labor tasks during their enlightenment. There are 7 yards in Shaolin Si, with a total area of 30,000 square meters. The Thousand Buddha Hall is the largest hall in Shaolin Si. The Pagoda Forest houses the tombs of eminent monks and is the largest building group of ancient pagodas in the world. Kung Fu learners all over the world know Shaolin Si with a history of 1,500 years. The Shaolin martial arts has been gaining in popularity.
《少林寺》
少林寺，
Watching. And a lot of many scenic spots in China. There are also a lot of famous cities, but we don't have much time to watch. Now let's come to the third point of our today's lecture. Last one. Tips. Yeah. Some tips on China tour. China is becoming the tourist destination with the largest number of international visitors in the world. More and more people consider China as their holiday destination? Now, do you plan to take an impressive journey in this charming country? Is this your first time to travel in China, or how do you prepare for the trip? Now, here are some ideas, some tips. There are a lot of tips. I just want to talk two tips. First, activities for Chinese students travel. That means if you travel in different cities in China, there are different tips. Here, I just cite several cities as examples. For example, the first one, if you travel in Beijing, there's recommended activities in Beijing. A Chinese calligraphy course in Hutong, and then you'd better go to listen the crosstalk performance in tea house, because Chinese crosstalk performance is a good chance for students who are in Chinese language courses, Chinese course, and understand Chinese language. The language skills used in crosstalk will enlarge your Chinese language learning knowledge. If you plan to see this performance, better to some the second city if you want to visit in Xi'an. Now, cycling on Xi'an Great Wall. Xi'an Great Wall, for a group of students traveling to Xi'an, you can hold a cycling competition on Xi'an City Wall. The Great Wall refers to City Wall. It's a chance to see this ancient city thoroughly with a memorable experience, and also learning to make Chinese dumpling in Xi'an. And you want to travel in Shanghai, the two tips: a sightseeing tour in university in Shanghai. Shanghai offers many China top universities, and a sightseeing tour in one of these famous universities will ensure an educational tour in Shanghai. So doing some communication with Chinese students, and even you may find a Chinese friend in this moment. And the second, visiting Shanghai World Expo exhibition. The second tip refer to Muslim travelers, because most of you are Muslims. So many Muslim travelers come to China every year because of its rich Muslim tourist resources. In addition to the renowned World Heritage sites, China has 24,000 mosques where Muslim travelers can have an in-depth visit and pray here. And a lot of Muslim, especially in Beijing, Xi'an, Shanghai, Gansu, and other places. There are some Muslims in Huangshi. Also, there's a Muslim mosque. Now, this is all from my lecture. This is today's homework. Read and record it. Just now in the first part of my lecture, I told you some people define Chinese landscape tourist resources in 5 kinds. That's in Chinese. 中国的景观旅游资源相当丰富，这些风景名胜区角度可以有不同的划分，其主要景观的不同，大体上可以分为如下5种类型：一、湖泊风景区，像白洋淀、杭州西湖、南京玄武湖、武汉东湖等等；二、山岳风景区，像黄山、燕山、泰山、衡山、华山华这里念华山。燕 here Nasrilo 燕山燕山。森林风景区、山水风景区、海滨风景区。So please read the short paragraph. Next, watch on the right. You will watch several videos introducing some Chinese scenic spots. After watching, you have to write in Chinese what you think about them. Your composition should be no less 150 Chinese characters. Next, the last point. Next week, we'll have take the final quiz. Please get prepared. Now, do you have any questions about the lecture and the homework? Do you?
老师 For second homework,
李彤
for second homework, we write in handwriting or type in Word.
How long? You mean the second
No.
one?
I mean, for second homework, we type in Word or handwriting.
Or you can type. You can type.
Okay, 老师
Okay? You can type, okay, you can do it in your handwriting. Any question?
没有老师，
Yeah, please. 华晨飞。
没有问题老师。
没有。Week.
好的，老师。
好的老师。
See you.
谢谢老师。
对老师。
拜拜。
拜拜。
谢谢老师。
谢谢老师。
拜拜。